Deanmill 6-8-44 as Deanmill go forward once again. Another opportunity here for a 7th. That's fallen just short. Another opportunity. But Imperials do well to clear this footy, and they look like they'll be able to exit their defensive 50 through Danks, who sends it out to the near side wing. Out looking for Mayers, who's had an outstanding start to this game. Wish we'd had sound, because you would have heard the name Mayers a lot. Unfortunately, that kick is off target, and we will see the new last disposal rule come into effect here with Blake East, who again has seen an absolute ton of the footy in the early going here at the Manjimup Recreation Ground, and that's a cracker of a kick. Goes inside, finds Rhett Lloyd, who has been another one who's been super busy. He drives them inside forward 50. Another chance for Deanmill here. Strong tackle in there. I think it was Childs that got taken to ground after taking possession. Ball does squirt free though, and another look for Deanmill. Just to the near side, and that seems to have been the scourge for Deanmill today. A lot of kicks missing to the side they're kicking from. They missed a lot to the left-hand side down the right-hand end of the ground, and again to the left-hand side at this end of the ground. Imperials 1 goal 6-12 trail Deanmill 6-9-45 in the early going of the second quarter. Imperials now get the chance to drive the half forward. If that ball will sit, great chance to go forward. Armstrong can't quite get a handle on it. Now he does. Feeds it out. Again, it'll come back to Armstrong. And there's a kick. If it can hit, they get a good chance to go forward here. Gizzarelli feeds it over to Malentis, who has a ping at goal. And that is a good ping. Degrees, sunshine out at Manjimup Rec Ground. Very, very different conditions to the last time we were at the Manjimup Recreation Ground for the grand final, a day that Hawks fans will remember fondly. They lead this one in the early going. Only 8 members of that Deanmill Premiership side from last year, I think, if I've got my maths right, are playing today. But when it's 8, that includes the names Blake East, Brock Tempera, Kai McGinty, Jordan Strawn and Archie Hall and co. It's not a bad 8 to be starting with. But this time, Imperials again get the chance to go forward. That's an outstanding kick. And Imperials have put their second on the board. I think that was Ibsen who let fly. That's a great kick. And Imperials have kicked 2 in about a minute. And they come storming back into this contest. 3 goals, 6-24. Deanmill 6-9-45, and I don't know, Deanmill fans might not be happy that I've turned up to the broadcast and started talking, because since I did, it's actually been all Imperials for the last couple of minutes. Some fantastic recruits that both these teams have brought in. Some new faces, certainly for Deanmill. Rhett Lloyd, who played waffle football for the West Coast Eagles in 2023 and 2024. Interesting addition, and while I've been sitting here on mute for about an hour, look, he's been outstanding, and I've called the name Rhett Lloyd a lot in the early going, albeit no one's heard me, but that's okay. Cooper Childs as well, another addition. He's come across, he's played Colts at Claremont, played at Osborne Park in the Perth Football League. He was outstanding in the first quarter. Now Deanmill get a chance. They square it up. Tempera will run onto this, send it round the corner, and he has missed to the far side this time, Brock Tempera. So Imperials, 3 goals, 6-24. Trail Deanmill, 6 goals, 10-46 in round 1 of the Tyrepower Manjimup League season for the Lower Southwest Football League. On the other side of the equation, we've got Bo Morgan for Imperials. Fantastic inclusion. Spent his last few years at Augusta Margaret River. While I was talking to no one in particular, he had a fantastic first quarter and got plenty of the football. Imperials, again, with that short kick that they've used with mixed success, it has to be said, so far in the game. This time finds Charlie Wademan, who moves them out to just beyond 50, but it's chopped off by Jacob Henry, who will drive the Hawks back inside 50. 22-point lead to Deanmill, and looking to go inside and build on that. Goes across the ground. straight into the sun for Farquhar, who now moves them inside forward 50. And that's a great mark, standing it under there. And we will wait for a number on this one. Fantastic mark, though. Had to stand and wait for it. It sat in the air for quite a while. I believe that might be Hetherington out on the far side. Now, Hetherington has played Colts already today, was part of a 29-point win for his Hawks side. I believe best on ground, carrying on his great Colts form from 2025. Now we get to see what Hetherington can do at league level. Drives at goalward. And one behind is the result. Again, that short kick into the pocket works out okay this time for Imperials, and now they look to go to that outer side, which they've done so often in the first 40 or so minutes of this game, but this time they actually move straight through the centre of the ground, and this one works really, really well for them. Mayers again, who's been in absolutely everything so far. Fantastic kick inside forward 50, and from one end to the other in the blink of an eye, and it is Raymond Mayers who will have a shot from about 40 out, 45-ish degree angle, and a chance to drive home Imperials fourth. And it has the carry just. He willed that one across the line. Imperials fourth goal, third for the quarter. Imperials 4 goals, 6, 30. And they trail Deanmill 6-11, 47. And I'm reckoning my phone is about to blow up with Deanmill people telling me to get off the broadcast, keep my mouth shut, because this game has been all Imperials' way on the scoreboard since the minute I opened my mouth. So don't hate me, Hawks. You're still in front, 17-point lead. Good win in the Colts for Deanmill, carrying on a strong 2025 form where they made the grand final. And in the reserves, they were successful today, 20-point winners over Imperials in the Retrovision Manjimup reserves. In the other game played today in reserves, Kojanup ran out winners by 39 points over Southerners, 15-7, 97 to 9 goals for 58 in Retrovision Manjimup action. As we return to the game at hand, and Tempera handballed to Blake East, who got down low, and Wilson, don't think there was any malice in that, but he has caught him high. Absolute dead set free kick, one of the easiest ones the umpires will give all day, and Blake East will go back from about 30. He, I believe, already has a goal to his name, and this one for a player of East's class. I won't say it, because if he misses it, my phone really will blow up with Deanmill people who will have had a gutful by this stage, so I will not say what I think this shot should be. We will just get behind the kick and see what Blake East does with it. East sends it goalward. Outstanding kick. Goal umpire barely moved. 7th on the board for Deanmill. 2nd of the day to Blake East. He joins Jordan Strawn as a multiple goal kicker. Riley Mason also on the board. Jared Edgar with a great one round the corner in the first quarter after a mark or free kick. And Archie Hall also on the scoreboard today. Imperials now 4 goals, 6, 30. Deanmill 7 goals, 1, 53. Fantastic contest, fantastic weather. Todd Cooper Cup up for grabs. It's something that's so dear to both these clubs. Brand new year, great chance for some silverware, and I know how much this one means to both Deanmill and Imperials. So great contest to start. Let's see if Imperials can really set a platform for an improved 2026. They get their hands on the footy here. Great chance to break, but it is broken up by Cooper Childs, who's been in plenty of the action so far. And he forces a ball up and another stoppage just outside the centre circle. Danks, who's been super busy so far in this one, they do get the chance to drive forward. Great look inside forward 50 for Imperials once again. Armstrong, who's been in absolutely everything so far, spears the kick in and it's chopped off by Kobe Brown, but it looks like a downfield free, and it's not a downfield free. Nope, it's coming back to the original kick. So Max East with the chance to drive Imperials inside 50. Instead, goes the handball out to the outer side. That's Armstrong, I believe, out there. Now he drives it deep, deep, deep inside 50. Just escapes Ghizzarelli running back towards the boundary line and has gone out, I believe, deep in that forward pocket. Chance for a stoppage inside forward 50. Well inside forward 50, just near the behind post. Great chance for Imperials to get another look at it and hit the scoreboard. Ball tossed in, Danks. Nope, we're going to give it back to the boundary umpire. And one more time, says the field umpire. Didn't quite get the depth on that one and give the Rucks an opportunity to contest. Much better throw this time. Henry gets his hands on it. They look for that back feed handball back through the goal square. It's Brown who gets his hands on it, sends it out to the outer side. Lloyd out there, I believe. Tempera gets on the end of a chain, and now he gets the chance to go for a run and bounce out that outer side. Still Tempera now drives it up to the scoreboard wing, and that's a great stretching mark. Demetrio out there, really good stretching mark just near the scoreboard there. Some people looking directly into the sun and enjoying a great day of footy at the Manjimup Recreation Ground. Now the kick goes right in front of that scoreboard, and it's Tempera who's hard running. He was the one that initiated that chain. Gets up. Hosiah Smith now. Chance to once again drive Deanmill inside 50. Imperials get first hands on it, but now spills just outside 50. Still the ball in dispute. Will the umpire call it? Yes, he does. Stoppage almost on the 50. Deanmill, great chance to go back inside. Riley Hetherington there with his back to us, setting up, looking dangerous once again. Comes down to Rhett Lloyd. He has been super busy in the early going. Spills at the feet of Strawn. Can't quite take that all too customary mark, sliding on his knees, but it falls outside there, and a quick kick, and that has gone straight through. And it was Cooper Rayson, I believe, that got that one. Fantastic snap out of the pack. A lot of congestion in there. Rayson, clean as a whistle. He had an outstanding season last year, of course, at Colts level. Steps up today, and he has kicked a magnificent goal out of the pack there. Great hands, clean as a whistle. And we now see Imperials 4 goals 6, 30. Deanmill 8, 11, 59. Starting to head towards time on of the second quarter in the Tyrepower Manjimup League round 1 clash between Imperials and Deanmill. Ball tossed in the air. Danks gets a really good piece of that one, but it's sharked at ground level by Jacob Henry, who sends them deep inside 50. Great mark falling away. Bo Morgan, who's been really busy for Imperials. What a great pickup. Got him in from AMR, Augusta Margaret River in the Southwest Football League. He has been super busy early, and if this is a glimpse of what he's going to bring to Imperials for season 2026, absolutely outstanding pickup for them. Raymond Mayers tries to get possession. Now he shepherds. Good chance for them to go forward again once again. It's come off hands. I don't think we'll see a last disposal kick, but now that I've said that, of course we will. Raymond Mayers with the free kick about 55 metres out from goal. Mayers looking for an option inside 50, potentially looking for an option that doesn't have the sun in their face, but drives it into the forward pocket. It's picked up by Callum East, who eventually bangs it outside, and Raymond Mayers once again on the end of it, who drives them straight back inside 50, and this time goes left. Great chance for Imperials here to hit the scoreboard. Just heaps of pressure inside there. Really hotly contested footy, about 25, 30 metres out from goal, almost directly in front. Stoppage, team set up. In comes Danks with that long flowing hair and the nice early bandage around the head, round 1. And that's a great snap out of the pack. Didn't even see who kicked that, so I'm going to be in trouble later for not picking up the goal kicker if that is a goal. That is an outstanding piece of work from the contest. And Imperials have their 5th. Imperials 5 goals 6, 36. Deanmill 8, 11, 59. Absolutely cracking contest unfolding here. Deanmill, of course, coming off a premiership. Imperials just looking for improvement after a top 3 finish in 2024. Had a tough season last year, but look, they seem to have recruited well. Morgan is an absolutely brilliant pickup. A lot of one-pointers in that team from a player points perspective. So a lot of homegrown talent that they're working really, really hard to develop. And yeah, they've been fantastic in the early going. 23-point deficit. But between these two teams, we saw bigger margins between these two sides last year, and this is a really bright opening to 2026 from Imperials. And look, Deanmill, with a lot of change, they'd have to be happy to hold a 23-point lead before half-time with so many new faces in this league lineup. Imperials, a great chance once again to break away from the centre. Long looping handball through to break that line. Now they get a really good look at it through Hall. He runs in on goal from about 40 out. Misses just to the near side, and Deanmill will get the opportunity to bring the ball into play. Imperials move to 5 goals, 7-37. Deanmill 8-11, 59. Starting to get deep into this second quarter of play at the Manjimup Recreation Ground. Exciting season, this one, for the Lower South West Football League. We've talked about Deanmill and the number of new faces in this side. Over at Kojonup at the moment, Kojonup and Southerners are doing battle. They're about 20 minutes ahead of this game. Oh, and that's a shank, I think, is the correct term for it. Raymond Mayers, who's been super busy in the last few minutes, gets on the end of this one, sends it to the top of the square. And that was Gizzarelli, I believe, who got on the end of that one and has snapped truly around the corner. And Imperials kick their 6th, and they close to 6 goals, 7-43. Deanmill 8-11, 59. So at Kojonup and Southerners are doing battle in a repeat of last year's preliminary final. Really interesting team sheets. Kojonup, a lot of familiar faces from 2025 and the team that ultimately was knocked out on preliminary final day. Southerners, very, very different looking team list to 2025 and the team that ultimately made the grand final that day. That side has got a lot of new faces in it. So it's interesting seeing the contrast between some of the teams this year that have turned over almost half their league side and some stability that we see from Kojonup certainly today, and Bridgetown from the team they've named tonight. There's not a lot of new faces there, but Tigers conversely, a lot of new faces in that team. And again, I'm as grey and neutral can be, but fascinated to see what the Tigers can do this year. Is this the year where their patience and their belief in youth is going to pay off, because they've just added some familiar faces from Waffle and some other leagues around the place that I think added to the youth. We could see some really exciting things from Tigers in 2026, and that game just down the road. Close enough that if you're at this one, you can get down the road and watch Tigers and Bridgetown do battle at 5:30 this evening. That is going to be a fascinating contest between one of last year's finalists and the team that I think could be the big improvers in 2026 in the Tigers. Back to the action at hand. Imperials 16 points down to Deanmill late in the second quarter, but this has been a really spirited quarter from Imperials. Now Deanmill get the chance to go forward once again through Childs, who's been in absolutely everything. Chopped off though, and Imperials send it back towards half forward. And Mayers again, he has been incredibly busy the last 15 minutes. He's had the ball on a string down across that half forward line, but this time Deanmill do chop it off and send it back towards that centre circle. And now they get the chance to go laterally. And it's Kai McGinty out here, who's got a bit of room if he can just pick up cleanly. Armstrong closes him down. Handball inboard, and now it goes deep inside looking for Strawn. Great defence from Imperials. Spill to Edgar, who had a lash, and that has bounced across the line and out of play deep in that opposite forward pocket for Deanmill. Imperials with a chance to try and clear some pressure now. Looking for options down there. Sends this one long, aims for the 50, looking for a big mark out there from Danks. They do get hands on it. Now they've got the opportunity to break. Danks over the footy, looks for a handball. Johnson was close, but just ran past him. Now the handball goes towards Johnson, but it's chopped off by Callum East, I believe that is out there. And he finds Jacob Henry about 55 from goal. So another opportunity for Deanmill to drive the ball inside. And that's exactly what he does. Goes long, direct. Why wouldn't you when you got Strawn in the team? And the umpire has picked out a free kick. Jordan Strawn, good old Keenan Wilson pleading his innocence there, but it's not going to change too much. Strawn will line up. Bit of an angle, not the side a right footer wants to be on, but as we saw through much of 2025, Strawn's kicking is elite, and there's not too many players you'd rather have the footy in the hands of having a shot from anywhere within kicking distance. Strawn lines up now late in the second quarter, chance to extend the margin. And does so with a maximum. So Imperials, 6 goals, 7, 43. Deanmill moved to 9 goals, 11, 65. Tyrepower, Manjimup, round 1 of league football, 22 points the difference. Deanmill leading their hosts late in the second quarter, coming up towards half time. But look, there's been a lot of bright sparks so far for Imperials. Armstrong, Captain Courageous, he's been outstanding so far in this first quarter for the hosts. Raymond Mayers has done what he likes across that half forward line for most of this quarter and had an absolute ton of the footy. Tim Mayers has also been outstanding throughout the game so far. Danks is competing hard with Archie Hall, absolutely has not had it all his own way, Hall. Now Imperials get the chance to break. Ibsen sends them forward, just over the head of a couple of leading targets, but they've got a chance to go again. Great handball out the back there. Gizzarelli gets a look, switches left, switches right, now switches into the middle, and look at that. Ibsen strolls in. Another goal for Imperials. That was superb footy. Gizzarelli got the footy, looked left, looked right, tried to find a clear avenue to goal, and then Ibsen snuck down straight into the 50, directly in front. Superb kick under pressure from Gizzarelli. Found his vice-captain, or fellow vice-captain, and Ibsen strolls in, kicks the easy goal. Imperials, 7 goals, 7, 49. Trail Deanmill, 9, 11, 65. 16-point margin. An absolutely fabulous game of footy breaking out under the sunshine here at Manjimup Recreation Ground. Chance for Imperials to drive the ball forward once again. They've had a great little patch in this second quarter. Closed the margin and now have another look at goal. It's that man Ibsen again, has a flying shot, wills it home, just out to the near side. Another behind for Imperials, 7 goals, 8, 50. Deanmill, 9, 11, 65. So the Magpies, really bright opening here. Deanmill would be happy. A lot of new faces in this Hawks side. So I think both teams would go in at half time with plenty to work on, plenty that their coaches will want to see from their charges in the second half. But both, I would hope, would think, would be pretty happy with what they've seen to date. Of course, new coach for the Hawks, Dave Rawson, who was a member of the board of directors for the Lower Southwest Football League and, of course, was umpiring a lot of league football last year. He's now in the coach's box, first game in charge of his reigning Premier Hawks. Be interesting to see what he has to say at half-time and how he thinks this game's unfolding. But Imperials, late in the second quarter, another set shot. Man on the mark's about 40 out. He'll kick from just on 50. Sends it long. Another Imperials goal. 8 goals, 8. 56 to Imperials, and that's a great kick from Melentis, who's been busy early in this game. Fantastic kick from right on the 50. And they've closed the margin to, I believe, 9 points. 8 goals, 8, 56. Deanmill, 9, 11, 65 in round 1 of Tyrepower Manjimup Lower Southwest Football League football. If we can get you a progress score from Kojonup, we will. And that game, surprisingly, is, it appears, relatively one-way traffic. Half-time score in that game, 14 goals, 5, 89 to Kojonup. Leading Southerners, 2 goals, 3, 15. So score 1 for the team that has retained a lot of their talent from last year and a very much unchanged almost lineup from 2025. So stability paying off for Kojonup. Some big losses for Southerners in the off-season as we go to half-time in this one. Half-time scores in the Tyrepower Manjimup League match between Imperials and Deanmill. 8 goals, 8, 56. Deanmill, 9, 11, 65. 9-point margin at the break. We'll go to a break and we'll be back with more in the third quarter of this round 1 Tyrepower Manjimup clash. Welcome back to the Manjimup Recreation Ground. Both teams have had their respective messages. Would be fascinated to understand how the coaches saw that first half of play, which sees Deanmill with a 9-point halftime lead. Closer than they might have expected turning up, but look, new coach, a lot of new faces in this team, so it would be interesting to understand the different expectations of the two coaches and the two clubs. And here we are at halftime with a 9-point ball game and a really exciting second half looking like it could unfold in Tyrepower Manjimup League action. For those just catching up on the scores, we've seen two reserves games so far today. We've got another that should have just started over at Tigerland at 4 p.m. between Tigers and Bridgetown, leading into that massive 5:30 p.m. match between the two sides. So far today in reserves action, we've seen Manjimup 15-7-97 defeat Southerners 9-4-58. And here at Manjimup Recreation Ground, Deanmill ran out winners in the reserves. Retrovision Manjimup reserves action, 8 goals 11-59, defeating their hosts 6 goals 3-39 by 20 points. Tigers and Bridgetown, hopefully, is just underway down the road. For those that didn't catch some of the second quarter and the first, apologies for the sound issues we were having in the first quarter. The voice of the Lower Southwest Football League for much of this year will be Nigel Reeve, but unfortunately he's not with us today, and you're stuck with the manager of operations for the Lower Southwest Football League, BK. Hopefully Deanmill will be a little happier with the last few minutes of that second quarter, because the minute we got the sound working and I started talking, I think Imperials kicked 3 goals in about the next 5 minutes. So the phone hasn't blown up just yet. Probably because Deanmill people are at the ground watching the game live. So I'm sure once the replay hits, I'll be in trouble. But look, here's to a really exciting second half. Couple of good competitive games in the reserves earlier today. In the Colts here at the Manjimup Recreation Ground, again, it was Deanmill who took the points, last year's grand finalists. 12 goals 13-85, defeated Imperials 8-56. Again, a good showing from Imperials, who had a tough season at times in the Colts last year. So in East Perth Football Club Colts action, Deanmill took the 4 points. Riley Hetherington, from all reports, put on yet another clinic, carried his 2025 form into the new season. And now the two teams get set for a second half of action in the sunshine, as we see some shadows starting to lengthen there in front of the ground. New coach for Deanmill there, Dave Rawson, former member of the board of directors for the Lower Southwest Football League, and much loved umpire throughout the league. There he is in Hawks colours, and first game day for points on the job. And let's see what his halftime message does for the Hawks as they look to extend that 9-point lead and take their first win of 2026 in Tyrepower Manjimup League action. Hoping there's nothing serious with Archie Hall. We have seen a lot of Jacob Henry in the ruck over the last quarter after Archie Hall was super busy early. Now, of course, I've just given away I'm not actually at the ground and calling this one remote, but we haven't seen Archie Hall just for a little bit, and I can only see what's on screen for me. So hopefully Archie Hall isn't injured and he is just out there somewhere I can't see him. Brock Tempera lining up in the middle along with Jacob Henry. Great chance for either side to take some ascendancy in this contest and set them up for a win. So it's Henry versus Danks, who's lost the bandage he had around his head for much of the first half, and we get a repeat stoppage very, very early moments of the first quarter. The ruckmen go at it again. This time Henry just gets a hand over the top and a little follow-up hand on the footy. Tim Mayers, who's been absolutely outstanding for the first half of this game and gets an early touch in the second, drives them inside 50. Deanmill some work to do to get out of here, which they managed to do. That's fantastic. Handball to himself, keeps running with the footy. Believe that is Cooper Childs down there, who's done a lot, to put it simply, so far in this game. Again, came from Claremont Colts back in the day and has spent much of his time in the last couple of years playing for Osborne Park. But he's been really busy and looks like a fantastic find for the Hawks. They drive it forward. Demetrio, who had a fantastic year at times last year for the Hawks, he now gets the opportunity to drive them deep inside 50. Strawn camped under it, I believe. Nope. Would have been his, I think, if it had come down and he got hands on it that second time, but it wasn't to be. Now they get the handball forward. I think that's Blake East who's got on the end of that. Gets bundled over after the kick. Doesn't matter though, it's gone straight through the middle, and that is East's third, I believe, for the game. Extends the margin back out to 15 points. And Deanmill with the first of the second half. Ball back in the middle. Another chance for Imperials and Deanmill to impact the scoreboard as the ball goes back, and we do in fact have a 50-50 ball. Umpire lets it go, gives them plenty of time, as he has. The umpires have done this all day, given the teams plenty of chance to break free rather than clog the game up and just come in with stoppage after stoppage. And again, we see it. That one, I suspect on many occasions, that ball up would have been called, but they did break the footy free, and Deanmill pushed forward, but well broken up by Imperials there. Great chance now to break down that out of the side, as they have done much of the day. Drive it deep inside forward 50. Diving mark attempt for Deanmill. Doesn't pay off, but they do get the footy. And now Blake East at the other end of the ground. He is stamping his mark on this game in a big way, Blake East. He's kicked 3 goals. Now he's cleaning up in defensive 50. He's been fantastic across the middle of the ground. He has been absolutely outstanding today, East. Imperials drive it forward once again. That looks like, once again, Cooper Childs, speaking of people who have had an outstanding day. This time, however, chopped off by Danks, who drives the Imperials back towards 50, finds an open option on that outer side there. Now they get the chance to go deep inside 50, look for a target. That's some good body work. Doesn't quite hold the mark, though. Spills over the back. Good chance now for Mayers, who, speaking again of outstanding players so far today, he has been brilliant. They get the footy forward through Ibsen. Now here's a chance. Might have been held without it. In fact, he is Ghizzarelli, the vice-captain. So again, the 2 vice-captains up there have linked up well throughout the game, Ghizzarelli and Ibsen. This time, it ends with Ghizzarelli, and he will have a good look at goal from about 20 metres out, and again, close this margin to single digits. We wait on the kick from Ghizzarelli. Closes in now. Certainly no style points for that one, and it does fade and go across the face of goals. A point for Imperials. They move to 8 goals, 9, 57, 14 points now behind Deanmill, 10, 11, 71. Early stages of the third quarter in this Tyrepower Manjimup League clash. Dangerous kick, but Childs makes it look good. Now he sets off towards the outer side wing. Fast transition from Deanmill here. Great chance for Edgar to drive them inside 50 in the blink of an eye. Strawn sits under it. Can't quite get hold of this one, and Imperials clear. They go to the outer side wing, and again, it's Raymond Mayers who gets the hands on the footy, drives down that outer side wing, which we've seen Imperials use to great effect during the day, and once again, this one has paid off. Now they go inside 50. Good look if it'll just stay in, and it has. One behind the result. 8, 10, 58. Imperials trail Deanmill 10, 11, 71. 13 points in it in this round 1 Tyrepower Manjimup League clash. Great end-to-end footy there. The last Imperials point feels like it was about 15 seconds ago, and we almost had an inside 50 mark for Deanmill. Then it's come straight back down the outer side of the ground, and another Imperials shot at goal. Fantastic end-to-end footy, and these two teams are really putting on a fantastic round 1 clash. Outer side now, another opportunity for Imperials. Great smother though in there. It's Rhett Lloyd who's been busy for Deanmill trying to get his hands on it, but Imperials, in fact, take possession. Great tackle out there near the boundary line, and one way or the other, it will end with the umpire. Not a throw-in. Field umpire says, no, you know what, I'll have this. I'll ball it up. Leave it to me, fellas. So once again, we get Danks and we get Henry going at it. Henry gets clean hands on that one, sends it to the back of the contest. Doesn't quite work out. Danks gets it, sends it inside 50. But the footy is going back. It's a free kick, I suspect. Just no, umpire, field umpire and boundary umpire conferring, and we're going to have another ball up. So let's just pretend the last 20 seconds never happened, because the footy's right back where it started, and we get a ball up and we get Henry and Danks going at it again. Armstrong with a chance, goes around the corner, sends it inside 50, chopped off. It's that man Blake East again, I think. Now Deanmill get the chance to clear, and as they've done for much of the day, they go central, just on the outer edge of that centre square. It ends with Wademan, but he's wrapped up, and the umpire, who has been very prominent the last couple of minutes, he balls it up again. Armstrong again out the back of the contest, gets wrapped up, and in fact gets wrapped up unfairly and pushed in the back. So it will be a free kick to Armstrong, who's having a magnificent day. He's had a lot of possession, particularly on that outer side of the ground. He's made that his own. Now he sends it to the top of the 50, in fact, well inside as it happens. That kick had some good carry on it. Deanmill looked to clear, just under pressure, and that's high. Just some Jonty East comes in and lets Ibsen know he wasn't a massive fan of the tackle, but look, Deanmill's free kick, umpire handled that one well, and Deanmill now clear to this near side wing. Edgar, almost a clever mark as he comes out to meet the footy. Imperials a chance to get their hands on it, but nope, it comes back inside to Hetherington, who's been good for his second game of footy for the day. Lloyd, again, who's been fantastic so far. He sends it inside 50. Now it's a chance for Deanmill to go forward. That is, I believe, Smith, who drives it deep, just misses the diving Demetrio, and I believe that's hit the point post, and we will get a throw in very, very deep inside the Deanmill forward line. Poor old boundary umpire's got some catching up to do here because that ball has been pinging around for the last 5 minutes from end to end. Boundary umpire, I hope he's getting more than a can of Coke and a pie for this one, because he has done a lot of work under the sunshine in Manjimup today. Throws it in right next to the boundary by the point post. Tosses it in, some strong bodywork there. Umpire lets them go. And Imperials rush a behind for Deanmill under pressure. Imperials 8 goals 10-58. Deanmill moved to 10-12-72. And again, they go with this short kick. This time it's safe. It finds Wademan. He plays on, sends it to the 50. So it's taken 2 kicks to get here, but Johnson, now there's a bit of space in front of him, but he goes into the middle and they're still just on the 50. Now they go laterally again through Ghizzarelli. Danks, now he moves it towards that outer side wing. Don't know if there's some special grass out there, but Imperials seem to love that outer side wing. They've played across that side of the ground a lot today, and it's worked a lot for them as well. They've moved it down that outer side, inside 50. Great chance here for Ibsen, who's been busy in this quarter. He's had a good day, but he's been particularly busy so far in this quarter. Got on the end of one with some really smart floating in from the fat side of the ground in the second quarter. Came down and met one that Ghizzarelli put on a plate for him. So they've been fantastic and super lively inside forward 50. Another slightly short throw, but can't blame those boundary umpires if they're absolutely knackered out there in the sunshine at this point. Smart handball off to Hall. He goes inside 50, spots up a target. Marks with Johnson. Jared Edgar suggested perhaps that the umpire maybe wasn't fully aware of what 15 metres looks like, and in the process, with a little shove after the mark, has given away a 50. That's going to put Johnson on the goal line and will lead to the easiest of goals for Imperials. Pops it through from the top of the square. Imperials 9 goals 10-64. Deanmill 10-12-72. Tyrepower Manjimup league action, and Imperials are not going away in this one. They've kept the margin for the last 30 minutes or so, somewhere in the low teens or single digits. Look, they move the footy down that outer side of the ground as they've done so much today, and it has worked well, more often than not for them. And they've used that outer side wing going both ways, both to the left and right of screen. They've used that outer side wing a lot during the day. Fantastic action. Deanmill, contrast in styles. They've gone straight through the middle whenever they can. And again, we're set up for an exciting last 45 minutes or so of this contest. Henry, who's been fantastic since he's come into the ruck. Again, I hope that means for the competition and for Deanmill that Archie Hall isn't injured. But look, Henry's been fantastic. First hands to it. Imperials force it forward, however, and it's left, as he's done so often today, to Cooper Childs to mop up. Imperials now move the footy straight, looking for that centre part of the ground again. They get the handball through. Now, Edgar, in some space, takes the mark, closed down quickly so he couldn't play on. Now he gets the chance to go around the mark, move it up to inside 50, and Strawn's second bite. That is a mark. Absolutely, says the umpire. So he's had a couple of bites of those Strawn in this, particularly this third quarter. A couple, in fact, that's not Strawn at all. Apologies for that. That is Riley Mason with the footy in his hands. They've had a couple in this quarter that they've had 2 or 3 bites at. That one sat up, and all Mason had to do was make sure he was there to catch the second one coming down. Fantastic mark. Really good look at goals here for Mason, and a chance to put Deanmill's 11th on the board, which he does. So Imperials 9 goals 10, 64. Deanmill moved to 11 goals 12, 78. And again, just moved the margin out to that 14 points. Every time they've been challenged, they've found a way just to put a little bit of space between them and the Magpies. But the way this game's been going so far, would not bet against Imperials now moving it straight out the middle and answering back and bringing it back to single digits. This game will just not break open for either side. Fantastic clash for round 1, and if this is an early glimpse of what Lower Southwest Football League action is going to be like this year, it's going to be a fantastic 5 or 6 months. Umpire back in the middle. It's still Henry and Danks doing battle in that centre circle. Pretty even contest. Armstrong runs onto it. Hasn't he been outstanding today? Moves the footy forward towards the top of the 50. Imperials with a chance. They look inside through Hancock, just over the head of his leading forward, and that's going to be a good juggled mark from Callum East, who plays on quickly, moves to Blake East. Blake East might have bought his own footy to this one. He has had an absolute ton of it so far. Moves it out towards the 50, and Bailey gets involved, taking the mark, and now looks to play on down the near side wing. Just misses the target. Imperials with a chance through Johnson, gets the handball. Armstrong again moves it laterally across to half forward. Now they get the chance to go inside 50, and they hit the target. Gizzarelli again looks inside. Great kick. Now comes the runner, and it's Ibsen again. Those two heavily involved. Ibsen lets fly. Just misses to the near side. Imperials 9-11, 65. Deanmill 11-12, 78. Great contest here in round 1 action. 13 points the difference midway through the third quarter. Deanmill now on the defensive 50, looking to clear just to relieve some pressure. They'd love to take this margin back out to 3 or 4 goals, as they had it earlier in the game, but Imperials came storming back in that second quarter, and no one's been able to break free since. Lloyd now turns around, looks for something in board, sees something he likes. The kick's well chopped off by Armstrong. He is having an outstanding day of footy, Armstrong. Ball spills free, play goes on, and again, it's Lloyd who drives Deanmill towards half forward. Mayers sits under that one. No one can get clean hands on it. Danks comes in to mop up, switches it out to Mayers out the back. Tim Mayers, he now drives them towards the centre, and that's a fantastic kick, finding Max East, who drives them inside 50. Deep, long entry, and that is going to be a ball up. Hancock, I think, wanted to claim it, but plenty of hands all over that one. I think that's Jonty East, our leading goal kick from last year, playing in the back line. Very deep down the ground. Got a good hand on that, or Hancock was going to be having a shot at goal from about 20 out. Deanmill looked to clear out towards the defensive 50, and that's a nice mark from Lloyd once again, who drives quickly just outside the 50. Believe that's Childs trying to pick him up out there. Sends it straight into the middle. It's been their go-to for the day. Once they get that second kick outside 50, they look to go straight into the middle of the ground. This time it comes undone. Ghizzarelli, who's been super busy in this third quarter, drives it inside 50. Ball bounces just in front of Armstrong. Missed him by about a metre. Now they get the chance. Good handball out. Snap around the corner from East. Deanmill claiming he got a touch on it. What's the umpire going to say? Because the goal umpire wouldn't know. Field umpire, all clear. Always a tough one for a goal umpire when they think there's been a potential touch and it's 20, 25 metres out. They have to rely on the field umpires. Absolutely a field umpire's call. And he said, nope, absolutely no touch on that one. That's clean as a whistle. Another goal to Imperials, 10-11, 71. Deanmill, 11-12, 78. 7 points in it. Tyrepower Manjimup league action, 16.5 minutes into the third quarter under the Avocado Collective scoreboard, who are also good enough to sponsor our umpires and their uniforms. Thank you to all our competition partners. Southern Forest Machinery back on board as the Southern Forest Machinery. Ball gets tossed in the air. We go back to it once again. Ball goes through the hands of Henry. Now Deanmill get a chance to go forward once again. Demetrio can't quite keep a handle on it. Fantastic pressure from Imperials. And another hard-working man in this quarter so far, the boundary umpire on that outer side. He has done an absolute ton of running up and down that outer side wing, and every time he thinks he might get a break, the ball goes out of bounds, inside forward 50, and he has to do a quick sprint to go and fetch it. Umpires picked out a free kick. It will be an Imperials kick. Wilson now looks to go laterally straight across the face of goal. That's nice and safe though. Ghizzarelli, he goes out towards 50. Semi-smothered off the boot though, so now they're under the pump. Hall gets the handball out. Well done, Imperials. They find that outlet kick, and it's Tomasi who marks about 60, 65 out from goal. Had a fantastic year at Colts level last year. Played plenty of league football as well, if I'm not mistaken, or my memory hasn't failed completely. That's a dangerous kick into the middle from East. Now they get the chance to recover. Dank's in there once again. He's been outstanding today. Competed hard with Hall when Hall was on the ground. And the battle between him and Henry has been absolutely fascinating. High ball inside, but Deanmill really well set up back there. And guess who? If you guessed anyone other than Blake East, you were wrong. He sends it out towards the outer side. Now the chance for Hetherington to run onto it. He's been a busy boy today as well with an outstanding performance in the Colts, and now he's playing well in the league. Wademan wants to claim the mark over Strawn. Brave. And they get wrapped up, and we will have another ball up just inside 50 for Deanmill. Outer side, Strawn trots away. Wilson lurks. In fact, Wilson's going to have to do the ruck work for Imperials with Mason from Deanmill. Tackle just slides up, but he ducked. Now, the C's part for, I believe, that was a fantastic snap then from the dangerous Edgar, but touched just before the line by Imperials. One behind the result. Imperials 10-11, 71. Deanmill 11-13, 79. This time they go straight up the middle, but still short, and that is dangerous. But once again, they recover. Get their hands on the footy. There's that clearing kick from outside, or to outside 50. Now, this will be an interesting call and a good call, in my opinion. Just my opinion. The umpire has called for a throw-in. No, that's not last disposal. The Imperials player did absolutely everything he could to get a hand on that. And it does indeed. Justice is done. It ends up with the boundary umpire. Last disposal is fantastic, I think, for all levels of footy. But this new interpretation the AFL have added last week with players not making enough effort to keep the ball in rather than just doing everything they can to touch it before it goes out. There was a test of that rule, and for what it's worth, I believe the field umpire got it absolutely right. There was absolutely no way the Imperials player had any other option but to try and catch that ball as fast as he could, and then it went across the line. But I don't think we could have asked any more of him in fair and reasonable circumstances. Throw in the result. In between all that, it's ended up back in Deanmill's forward 50. They get the chance to clear. That kick just misses its target. Blake East again now drives them inside forward 50. And it's Mason once again. Thought about the handball to Blake East. Instead, goes with the kick to McGinty. Kai McGinty goes around the corner and Strawny's touched it. If I was Kai McGinty, wouldn't be super happy. Then again, if I was Kai McGinty, I also probably wouldn't be going and telling Strawn I wasn't happy. But I'd just probably chalk that one up to experience and just take that one on the chin. Imperials, clear it now, outside 50, but it ends up back with Deanmill. They get the chance to go back inside. Ends up, this has fallen into the path of McGinty, has another snap. This time, Strawn's 10 metres out, raises his hand, that's a goal to Deanmill. McGinty smartly trots off the other way, doesn't go for a chat with Jordan. Great result for Deanmill, 12th goal on the board, and Kai McGinty gets on the scoreboard and lives. Great couple of minutes for Kai McGinty, great couple of minutes for Deanmill. Imperials now 10-11-71, Deanmill 12-14, 86. They get that little bit of breathing room again, 15 points to difference coming up to the 22-minute mark of the third quarter in Tyrepower Manjimup League action. Chance now. Deanmill go forward, inside 50 again. Danks, clearing kicks, sends it towards the centre, but Deanmill are super well structured. And guess who? Once again, Blake East. He has dominated this quarter and he's been outstanding all game. He's got a couple of goals on the board. He's connected them from defence. He's been active through the midfield. He's been everywhere. And Kai McGinty now getting involved. And this isn't a great sign for Imperials because Kai McGinty, look, outstanding player. And if he gets hot and has a big 10 minutes, he can split a game wide open. And East gets on the end of the chain that he started, sends it deep inside forward 50. Great spoil there from Imperials, but Deanmill are going to get another look at it through Mason. Turned one too many times, and that is surely holding the ball. I think he had prior opportunity then and potentially the next person's prior opportunity. Danks goes laterally across to the opposite pocket. Dangerous kick, but safely lands in Imperials' arms. And now the next one goes up the line. Hall marks, gets a little tap on the shoulder from Deanmill to let him know that he had opponent closing on him. And that's a good kick to Armstrong, who's been super energetic throughout this quarter and again throughout this whole game. And again, they go out to that favoured wing of theirs. East can't quite get a handle on it. Deanmill thought they're about to run away with it, but it looks like it has gone across the line and will be thrown into play this time. Ryan Tempera couldn't quite hide the ball well enough from the boundary umpire to get away with that one. So yet another contest between Henry and Danks, absorbing contest between these two. Danks goes in, tries to get his own ball when the ball hits the deck. Smith's there for Deanmill. Out the back, once again, Blake East. This has been an incredible performance from East. Every time he gets the footy now, it's getting more and more unbelievable, this game from East. Lloyd sends them forward. He's been fantastic, and it's Brown who gets the end of this one. Brown now looks to drive the Hawks forward, puts it inside 50, pops it up, comes off the boot, and actually somewhat luckily lands in Sean Ghizzarelli's arms, I believe that was. And now we've got Raymond Mayers who can relieve the pressure, go straight up the middle, which is one of the few times we've seen Imperials do that. And it's Tim Mayers who now drives them forward. Good kick, good connection. Brisbane now, big turning circle, goes inside with a long kick, puts it to the top of the square almost. Contested mark down there, great opportunity for Imperials. But it's Deanmill who clear, and now they look for some breathing room. Kick outside 50, and it's Henry who takes a strong mark with some attention from Mayers, relieves the pressure, now sends them to the true centre wing, and it is Hetherington who just settles and slows things down a bit. 15 points in front, just might be looking to play a bit of tempo footy here, and that has gone on the full. So Wilson will look to bring the ball back into play, goes straight back up this near side wing. Slightly misdirected, and I think that's Henry that's got in the way of that one. Chops it off, and on true centre wing, Henry now with the chance to send Deanmill forward once again. Ball's at about 60 out for Deanmill. Wrapped up is Edgar down there by Hall. Umpire says, give it to me. 26 minutes into this third quarter. Imperials would love one just to bring it back under double digits going into the three-quarter time break. Geez, wouldn't Deanmill love one here? Just to take it out to 20 or plus 20 plus points as we head towards the last change. Really crucial couple of minutes this. Henry, once again, his positioning has been outstanding, particularly in this third quarter. He's chopped off a few now, goes out to Blake East. Nicely chopped off by Imperials, however. So we can't add that one to the stat sheet for East. Whoever is keeping that stat sheet has probably run out of room next to Blake East's name. He has had the footy more times than I can count. Umpire tosses it back into play. This contest between Henry and Danks continues unabated. Deanmill goes forward once again. Little 1-2 from Smith, but don't think his teammate there was quite ready for it. Armstrong with a chance now to break Imperials forward. Good handball over the top. Kick just misses the mark going inside 50, but Hall's got time. Good spin there from Hall. Feeds the handball out. Shot at goal. And once again, on cue, Imperials kick the goal. Move to 11-11, 77, and just bring that margin back under 10 points again. In the shadows of three-quarter time, 11-11, 77, Deanmill 12-14, 86, and we're back to the margin we had, I believe, at half-time. 9 points, 27 minutes into the third quarter, and we are set up for an absolutely absorbing last quarter of this contest at Manjimup Recreation Ground. Once again, Todd Cooper Cup up for grabs today. Both these teams would love the chance to grab some silverware in round one of a new season. This cup means a lot to both sides, both football clubs. So look, big day, special day for both clubs. And at the moment, this game is absolutely in the balance. Deanmill drive it forward. They go deep and long inside 50. Fantastic spoil by Wademan under all sorts of pressure there with the quick entry. And it was Mason, I think he was up against. Ball's gone out of play. Looks like we'll get yet another throw-in from that hard-working boundary umpire out there. He's had a tough quarter. Absolutely tough quarter. Prepares to throw it in. This time we get Mason and Wademan going at it. Inside forward 50 for Deanmill. Chance here for Deanmill. Drops the shoulder. Looks for a kick. Has he drawn it? Yes. No. Yes. Lloyd has drawn the high contact free kick by the looks of it, and we might even have a 50 to go with it. So Lloyd, to make sure of it, it's inside 50, so this will put him on the goal line. Lloyd now from the top of the square. Pops it over the goal umpire's head. Over a very unimpressed, I think that's Keenan Wilson down there on the goal line. Moves the margin back out to 15 points, and this game just will not break open for either side. Every time Imperials bring it back to 7, 8, 9 points, Deanmill kick a goal, bring it back out to 14 or 15, and that's been the pattern of probably the last 45 minutes of this game, is Imperials bringing the margin back into single digits and Deanmill finding an answering goal, and they just can't get past that 2.5 goal margin. So absorbing contest. The Imperials midfield there are talking about what they want to do from this next stoppage. Deanmill mids, led by Blake East, to work their way back into the middle. Kai McGinty on this near side wing with Ghisrelli for company. He's had an outstanding game. McGinty's had a good quarter. The Rucks go at it again. This time it's Callum East for Deanmill. Chance to go forward, just didn't quite break, but looks like Deanmill... Nope. Three-quarter time. So that's the final change here at Manjimup Recreation Ground. It's 11-11, 77 Imperials. Deanmill 13-14, 92. We'll break for a few moments and bring back what is going to be an exciting final quarter of this Tyrepower Manjimup League game. See you in a few moments. We're back and almost ready to go in final quarter action here at Manjimup Recreation Ground. Fascinating last quarter incoming between Imperials and Deanmill. Currently, Imperials 11-11-77 trail the Deanmill Hawks 13-14-92. The players in the sunshine with the shadows lengthening as we get set, 15 points the difference. Fascinating last quarter coming up. Let's see, can Imperials finally get that margin back inside that goal and a half that it's been at for much of the last 45 minutes of play and get over the top of Deanmill? Wouldn't they love that to start the season? They get an early look inside 50, drive it deep inside 50 to start the quarter. Here's a chance for Imperials, nice and early. Contest at the top of the goal square. Gizzarelli, I think that is, goes to ground as he kicks. It's gone out on the full in the opposite pocket. So early chance for Imperials. Deanmill clear, head up to this near side wing. Good punch from behind by Colby Beebe here. Moves it back inside. Now he follows up his own footy. Sends a spearing pass inside 50. Great mark, Hancock, who now will line up for goal. About 45 metres out, not a kind angle. Goes short, pops it into the pocket. Kane Malentis now looking inboard. This is a tough kick. He's about 20 metres around, tight on the boundary line, up against the fence as he starts his run up. Really difficult kick from here for a right footer. Looks like he's going to take it on though. In fact, comes round and he's a left footer. Of course he is. BK knows nothing about anything. It gets chopped off. I think it was touched on the way through. East has run that across the line. Umpire believes there was enough pressure. One behind the result for Imperials. That man Blake East clears it out. Now Deanmill can break. They look to move it outside 50, but again it's chopped off by Imperials. They go back inside 50. Spearing pass, and once again, Hancock. Similar position to the last one, maybe just a few metres to the left and a bit more central than the last kick he had. Will he take this one on? Looks like he's going to have a good look at this one. Lines up. He'll kick from just inside 50. Gives it a roost. Sends it long. Just misses to the near side. Imps 11-13, 79. Deanmill 13-14, 92. 13 points the difference. Coming up to 3 minutes into the final quarter of this Tyrepower Manjimup League Round 1 clash. Long kick from Deanmill. I think that was East coming out of full back. He's been in absolutely everything and everywhere today. Move it quickly to the wing. That's good movement by hand from Kai McGinty. Temper, I think, was got on the end of that. And in the blink of an eye, they're back inside their forward 50. Now here's an opportunity for Childs. Gets around onto his right foot. Sends it long. Wouldn't quite go straight, and it wouldn't quite set up for Demetrio, who recovers well. Puts it on the outside of his boot. He claimed it. Goal umpire disagreed. So just like 2025, Deanmill's super dangerous on transition. That went from a point at the other end to a really dangerous scenario for Deanmill in what seemed like about 25 seconds. So still super dangerous on transition, the Hawks. Now the Imperials get a chance to clear. They go long this time, which has been unusual. Most of their kicks have been inside. McGinty gets up, fantastic mark. Just got the leg up, got the sit, moves it. They move it inside to Blake East. And guess who and guess what? Blake East has given them the breathing room they've been looking for about a quarter and a half of this contest since Imperials stormed back into it. Of course, it was Blake East that just took it upon himself to break this contest wide open for Deanmill. They've now got that 20-point margin they've been looking for much of this second half. He has been, if Blake East isn't best on ground, well, I don't know who is, and I need to watch a lot more football because I clearly know nothing about anything, because he has been in everything. He's been forward, he's been back, he's kicked goals, now he's back in the midfield. He has been a warrior for this football club, and his performance today, if this is what Blake East is bringing in 2026, it may be his best season yet. Imperials now move the ball forward. That man East gets underneath it. Brave goes to ground. Imperials manage to mop it up. They go forward through Ipson once again, and that's a great spearing pass inside forward 50. And once again, through Malentis, Imperials get another look. Chance to bring it back to that 14-point margin that we've seen so much through this game. Lines up very deliberately, 5 minutes into the fourth quarter. Really important kick this. Holds its line, just stayed away from that goalpost, and he has brought it back to 14 points. Melendez with that left foot that I will now never forget is most definitely, he's a left footer. Fantastic kick, straight in front, just managed to manoeuvre it to the right when it looked like it might just drift into that left-hand side goalpost. The margin's back to 14 points. Imperials 12-13, 85. Deanmill 14-15, 99. Still plenty of time for either side. Imperials just need a little run of goals like they had in that second quarter that brought them storming back into this contest. They just need a run. They can't go goal for goal from here. They need a run of 2 or 3 unanswered ones. Danks again with, I think that's Henry back in the middle, once again for Deanmill. Ball comes out. This is a crucial footy to win, and there's a holding free kick, and it's going the way of Imperials. They drive the ball forward again, go up towards the top of the 50. In fact, it goes deeper than that. It's probably 30 from goals at this point. East looks for a handle on it, gets it to Gizzarelli, and just when I said they needed a run from goal, straight out the middle, free kick, they get it down inside 50, get that all-important back-to-back goal, and they've now brought the margin back to 8 points. Almost 7 minutes gone in the quarter, plenty of time for either side. This game is going to go to the wire, I suggest. We're down to 8 points, 20 or so minutes left. Every time it looks like Deanmill might have finally broken this game open, Imperials just find a way, and we're back to 8 points. I think the smallest margin in this second half has been 7. Let's see what they can do from the centre bounce this time. Danks again, up against Henry. Ball into the air. Danks gets clean hands on it. Strong handball straight out the middle, and they're straight out the front of this contest. Inside 50, Imperials, another shot at goal. And they've kicked another one straight out the middle. We're back to a 2-point ball game. What an outstanding round 1 of football this is turning into at Manjimup Recreation Ground. We're 2-point margin. I'm losing my words. Blake East, I mean, he cannot do any more. Surely Blake East can't do any more for Deanmill than he's already doing. They need a spark other than the players that have already been carrying them to this point. Rhett Lloyd's been outstanding. We've seen some outstanding signs from Cooper Childs. We've talked lots about Blake East. The ruck duel has been outstanding and just, I think, is going to play a major bearing in the last 20 minutes or so of this contest. East, once again, in that middle. Who can provide the spark to get this game over the line for their respective teams? Just when it looked like Deanmill might have finally broken their hosts. 3 goals in 3 minutes. And it's 2 points. The difference in this game is absolutely game on. Bailey switches to the outer side. Edgar just gets eased underneath the football. Chance for Imperials to clear as Edgar slips and loses his footing. Kick down that outer side wing. Picked up by Tempera. He gets the chance but gets tackled. Really important ball this. And it's a kick for too high. Imperials get the chance to go forward, come across the ground towards the middle. It just hangs in the air, but Armstrong, safe hands. He's been really good today. Goes straight down the middle. Spearing pass, just eluded Hancock, who's taken a couple of strong marks down there in this quarter. Childs, he's been really good. Spears the pass. Strawn on the 50, goes short, and it's Blake East again. Just says, settle down, boys. Leave it to me. I'll fix this. So East moves back. He's well within the centre square now. Nice and deliberate. Knows the importance of this kick. Experienced player. Knows that they just need that goal to break this one open. Give them some breathing room. Plenty of time left in this contest, though. Just misses to the far side. So extends the margin, albeit only by a point. Imperials 14-13, 97. Deanmill 14-16, 100. There's that short kick that we've seen most of the 16 kickouts that Imperials have had. It's been short. Now they get that second one outside 50 that goes long to the near side wing. Good spoil from Tempera. Footy on the outer side wing. Great opportunity here. 50-50 ball on the wing. Who can turn this game? Imperials take possession, drive it forward. Goes inside 50. Nice mark, Deanmill down there. Just inside forward 50 for Imperials. Good saving mark down there by Bailey. Switches play, goes across the ground. Mason marks. Mason, about 40 out from his own goal, sends it into the middle looking for Edgar. Edgar picks up. just manages to shovel it out and get it to a teammate. Now it's just, this ball's going to break for someone. And I think Danks is going to be the recipient of a free kick. I think in the end that was for kicking in danger. Good opportunity here for Imperials, just outside the 50. Mayers, who had an outstanding first half, was good in the third quarter, but his first half was electric. Kept Imperials in the game at one point there, but as his teammates started to lift around him, they got right back into this contest. Hancock been busy, really busy. Now it's Ibsen, another one who's been absolutely influential in this one. Fires at goal. Just misses to his near side. Goal umpire waiting for an all clear, I believe. Says, you know what, I'm sick of waiting. Just going to wave the flag, boys. So, Imperials 14-14, 98. Deanmill 14-16, 100. Shot on goal for Imperials, another behind. And they close the margin to a point. Imperials 14-15, 99. Deanmill 14-16, 100. Coming up to 13 minutes into this all-important fourth quarter. Tyrepower Manjimup league action. Tossed in by the boundary umpire, smashed forward by Callum East. I suspect that one may just go back. And a nice drop punt there from the field umpire. Hits the target, boundary will have another go, tosses it in. Danks gets up over the top this time. Crucial contest this. Imperials, they get a look at it. Brajovic sends it inside. Another opportunity here for Kane Malentis. Now I can say he was in the wrong pocket for a left footer. And I believe we'll have another throw in. Deep inside Imperials forward line. They trail by a point. Last quarter, 1 point the difference. Imperials get their hands on it. Danks has gone back to the, not sure if that's a bandage or a headband, but he was minus it in the third quarter. It's back on in this. The two rucks go at it. Tempera grabs the footy out of the contest, sends Deanmill forward just outside 50 now. Big contest coming up. The two number ones went at it momentarily. Rhett Lloyd, Scott Ghisarelli for Imperials. No way that's coming out of there. Field umpire comes across and says, boys, I'll take it from here. Toss it up. And the rucks, geez, they've been busy today. This game's been wide open at times, but there's also been a lot of ruck contests. Been a fascinating, absorbing duel from these two sides. Very contrasting styles. Wrapped up once again. Armstrong, no surprise to Imperial supporters. Armstrong in the thick of it. Brave as you like. And we now get a ball up about 60, 65 out from the Imperials goal. Time not an issue. They've got about 15 minutes left, I reckon. Plenty of time for both sides here. Wademan drives it inside forward 50. They'll be looking for a mark. Spills to the front. Good opportunity here over the back. And the look on, I think that was Ibsen down there, the look on his face said it all. Threw his head back in disgust when that one just faded offline. Now 14-16 apiece, I believe. The screen is telling me something different, but let's not have a scoreboard error today, please. Pretty sure Deanmill were a point in front before that one, and that point has squared things up. Yep. Now we're aligned. So Imperials 14-16, 100. Deanmill 14-16, 100. We've spent 3.5 quarters to get to this point. Who can claim the 4 points over the next 15 minutes? I did it once last year, joked about a draw, and we got one. So I'm not going to do that today. Don't send complaints to admin at lowersouthwestfootballleague.com.au. We're not joking about draws, but at the moment, that's exactly what we've got. It's 100 apiece. Deanmill now. Draw from half back. There's that word again. Sorry. Goes up towards centre wing. Great chance for Imperials. Danks with the long locks flowing and the bandage or headband. They go forward once again. Inside forward 50. And that is an outstanding defensive mark down there from Deanmill. In fact, note, the umpire says there were 2 sets of hands on that, and Imperials get another look at it. Inside forward 50. Smashed out of there again by Calamity. Was that East or Mason? Went with the double-handed smash. It's out of bounds. The rucks will go at it once again. About 25 metres around from goal for Imperials. The game is tied. Imperials deep in their forward 50 with a chance here. Danks grabs it out the ruck, gets the handball away. Mason tidies it up, dishes the handball off. Quick kick to the 50. Imperials a chance. No. Drops for Deanmill. Now they get the chance to drive it up towards this near side wing. Crucial contest this. Wilson front lines the footy, takes it on the chest, bangs it back inside forward 50. Another opportunity. Bo Morgan, can he break free? No. Morgan had a fantastic first half, been a little quieter in the second. Had a chance there. The C's just wouldn't quite part for Morgan, because if he'd got through that last tackle, that was a goal coming up. Fantastic tackle from Deanmill. Ball goes back inside 50 for Imperials. They get another look at it. Crucial contest this, about 55 from goal. Ball spills out the back just when the umpire had his whistle. He did everything but blow it then. Now it's come out the back. Imperials with that back feed handball. Wilson, who's been good today, really good, sends it back inside. Chance to mop up. Ball hits the deck. Deanmill clean up. Tackle from Imperials. Put pressure on the kick. And it's landed with Morgan. 55 out. He'll drive it back inside. Kick misses the mark just. Deanmill with a chance to mop up here. And Imperials, another point, and crucially, gives them a 1 point lead. East runs out of the square. Sends it outside 50. Player all on his own out there. I think that's Edgar out on the far side. He marks about 55 from defensive goal. Just looking for an option, because this has gone from a game save for Deanmill. They're now a point behind. They need to push the pace. Plenty of time still. Good 10 minutes left in this contest. Great mark out there. Contested on the outer side. East follows up from the back defensive goal square. Gets possession on the wing. Sends a great kick out there to Strawn. Strawn, about 55 from goal, sends it inside forward 50. Loose checking there, unfortunately. Demetrio marks all on his own. About 35 from goal, tight angle. Be a tough kick from there, but we've seen Demetrio. He can drift into a game and do the sublime and the ridiculous in the space of 5 minutes. Some of the kicks he pulled off last year, absolutely outstanding. Kicked some goals out of absolutely nothing. Lines up for a right footer. Not the place a right footer wants to be, and he's nailed it. So Demetrio does what Demetrio can do, kicks the tough one. Right footer, right pocket, wrong place on the ground for a right footer, nails it anyway, puts Deanmill back in front by 5 points. Imperials 14-17, 101. Deanmill 15-16, 106. As we cross the 20-minute mark of the final quarter in Tyrepower Manjimup league action. Lower Southwest, round 1. Deanmill hanging on now to a 5 point lead. Probably 10 minutes left in this one, or just under. Danks goes back. Does battle with Callum East this time. Gets his own footy, sends it to Armstrong. Armstrong drives Imperials in forward. Inside forward 50. Chance here for Hancock. Just eludes him. Gets a good tackle. Affects the kick. Dangerous area for Deanmill. It's about 40 metres out, directly in front. Imperials with a chance to get their hands on the footy. Mayors under all sorts of pressure. East again. Deanmill get it clear. Send it towards their own forward 50, and that's a brave mark coming across. Both players knew contact was coming. Demetrio, as he can do in just a 5-minute purple patch, drives them deep inside forward 50. It's drawn. It's dangerous whenever he's there. If he can get on the lead, Demetrio set him up, put it on a plate for him. Strong lead, strong mark, all sorts of pressure from behind. But once Strawn gets that front position, and as we've seen so often over the last 12 months particularly, Demetrio can just get on these little patches for 5-10 minutes here or there. Kicked a crucial goal. Now Strawn lines up and bangs that one through as well. Is that the breathing space that Deanmill have been chasing for a good portion, in fact all of this second half? They moved the margin out to 11 points with 2 consecutive goals. Demetrio up to his eyeballs in both of them, kicked the first from a really acute angle, took a really brave mark outside 50 just then put it on a plate for Strawn. Demetrio probably not amongst the leading possession winners on the ground, but his last 5 minutes may have just done what Deanmill needed to do to get across the line in this one. Absolutely crucial couple of minutes of footy from the number 3 there for Deanmill. Ball goes back to the middle. Danks, as he's done all day, and he's had about 4 different opponents so far. He's been an absolute warrior. Comes out the back, finds Ibsen, who drives them forward. Top of the 50, crucial bouncing ball. Nice evasion. No, gets caught on the turn. Imperials now, really good look at it. Hancock just missed to the near side. Margin to 10 points. That did not miss by a lot at all. And Imperials, they haven't given it up for, and they won't go away for 3 quarters and 20 minutes. Don't expect them to go away over the next 8. Deanmill now drive it from their defensive goal square, way outside 50. That's a long kick, great kick outside 50. Crucial ball for this Imperials. Time, not an issue yet, but they'd want to get this 2-goal margin back down to at least just 1 in the next couple of minutes. Give themselves a good chance to go back to the middle, regroup. Crucial contest on the outer side wing. Deanmill drive it forward past the scoreboard. Ball comes straight back into the middle. That's a good kick, and Hall just near the centre circle, just backward of the centre circle in fact, comes to this near side. 2-on-1 out here, gets over the back. Colby Beebe now goes forward, drives towards 50. Will he take it on or look for a pass? Looks for the pass. Just tried to squeeze it between 2 Deanmill players who are closing down Ghizzarelli, but it bounces out, drop mark by Johnson, but he picks up his own spill, sends it back in. Another big contest coming up in the air. Ghizzarelli's there. No. Ryan Tempera gets the footy, just buys some time. Edgar's down there, long way from goal. Deanmill look like they're going to get out again. Blake East calms things down, finds a target. Brock Tempera marks on defensive 50. Now he sends the footy up towards that outer side wing once again. We've seen so much of the play. Demetrio, what a fantastic 5 or 10 minutes he's had. If Deanmill do take the points here, we'll all talk about Blake East's game, but Demetrio's last 10 minutes has been absolutely crucial in this contest. 14-18, 102 Imperials. Deanmill 16-16, 112. Demetrio again. The kick goes backwards and he marks safely on his chest. Ibsen comes across to put some pressure on the mark. Deanmill now just slowing things down, playing a bit of tempo footy around that outer side. Finds the target he was looking for. I think that's Lloyd out there. He's been fantastic. What a great first game for Deanmill from Lloyd. Demetrio gets on the end of this one, worked up hard. Now he sends it forward to true wing Tempera, who was also involved early in this chain. They're just working hard for each other, finding these little 15, 20-metre chips, just taking some time out of the clock. Now we're getting to the point where time could become the enemy for Imperials. That kick goes backward to Lloyd, and they're just milking this perfectly, the Hawks. Experienced lineup. They know how to take time out of the clock. Chips it over to Hetherington now. And they're back where they were about 3 kicks ago, but they've taken about a minute and a half off the clock in the meantime. Kick goes back even further. Imperials, they need to close down this. Can't allow these easy kicks because Deanmill will do this for the next 5 minutes if you let them. Now they have to go to a contest, and it's Armstrong out there, as he's done so much today. Chops it off, finds a kick, finds a target right in front of the scoreboard, a scoreboard that currently shows Deanmill 10 points in front with minutes to play. Ibsen now, he's been fantastic, especially in this second half. Deanmill have the footy, get wrapped up in a tackle. I think the tackle came from Johnson. Umpire says, give it to me. We're now crossed the 26-minute mark. Time definitely becoming the enemy now for Imperials. They need a goal and they need it quickly. Deanmill look to get the footy out. What Imperials cannot afford here is to let Deanmill get possession and then slow the game down and start a chain of kicks like they did 2 or 3 minutes ago. Imperials need this footy in motion and they need a goal and they need it quickly. Ball falls to Tempera. He finds an outside handball, but it gets chopped off. Lloyd almost had it. Imperials now. Danks pushes away. Fantastic work from Danks, and he finds Ghizzarelli out there on the outer side. He wheels onto his left foot, bangs it inside 50. Big contest, big collision. Mason down there finds the handball out. They go out that outer side boundary. Good contest out there. Loose ball, crucial ball. I think that's McGinty at the back. Spins, turns. And is the umpire a judge that he's walked that out of bounds, or will we get a throw in? We will get a throw in. I think he spun and turned that many times that people just lost track of how that ball ended up out of bounds in the first place. Then again, not a kick we'd want to see paid, but the rules these days, we just don't know sometimes. Wademan did well there across half-back. Footy now, bang, straight into the middle. Think Beebe might have been called out of that one by Mayers, but then the ball just dropped in front of Mayers. Now they've got a chance. At the second go, big long kick inside, 25 metres out. That is a superb saving mark, and it's Blake East. Goes out wide. Now Imperials have to man up, and they have to do it quickly. That's Cooper racing out there, finds a target. And now Deanmill get the opportunity to just get their hands on the footy, slow things down, play some tempo footy and take some more time out of this clock. That kick misses though, goes over the back. Danks now drives Imperials back inside. Big marking contest coming up. Mayers! Big mark from not exactly the biggest bloke down in that pack. And he has taken a really strong mark, took it clean, one grab. He goes back. He knows time's an issue, but he needs this kick to be straight. Lines it up. Big kick this. Goal umpire hasn't moved, and this game just won't give Deanmill. In fact, the siren's gone. Apologies, I don't have sound at this end. I can only see what I can see on the camera, but Mayers kicks that last goal. As it turns out, it's a consolation goal. Imperials 15-18, 108. Deanmill 16-16, 112. Deanmill run out 4-point winners. What an absolutely cracking game of football between last year's premiers and last year's wooden spooners. Sorry, Imperials fans, because I think it's going to be a much improved year this year. But on paper, this was a game that potentially wasn't exactly game of the round with first versus last from 2025. But Imperials have shown tremendous signs here. They're going to be a force this year. Deanmill, look, they were good today. They had some outstanding contributors. Look, Blake East, that has to start at the top of the list. He was outstanding. He was outstanding everywhere, all over the ground. Brock Tempera had some good periods throughout the game. McGinty had a little purple patch in the third or fourth quarter. Demetrio was incredibly crucial in that last 10, 15 minutes. He had that little patch. He kicked a goal. He put one on a plate for Strawn. Strawn was strong. Look, he'll be amongst the goals again this year as he was last year. Not his dominant best today, but geez, sure hands. I think he's ended up with 3 or 4. Strong, and every time they go in, he's always going to look dangerous, and he's always going to command a strong defender to keep him honest. For Imperials, Ghizzarelli was outstanding. Brandy Armstrong, he was everywhere throughout the game. Kane Miletus had a fair bit of the footy. We saw their new recruit, Morgan, outstanding first half, probably not quite as much impact in the second, but look, there's great signs there for him. Wilson was good down back. We saw Tom Danks, what an absolute lionheart he was in the ruck. He had, I think, 3 or 4 different opponents throughout the day. Has to be amongst their best. But look, best on ground, you cannot go past Blake East. Held the Premiership Cup aloft about 7 or 8 months ago. At this very ground, in fact, across that little patch of shade that they're walking through now. So that spot on the ground has very, very fond memories for Blake East, and he's just making Manjimup Recreation Ground his own, because his game today, I know I've talked a lot about how good he's been, but how could you not? That is one of the best individual games of football I've seen in a long, long time. Kicked a few goals, I think 3 in the end for East. Was handling kick-out duties at times, was starting in the midfield. That was as complete a performance as you could ask. And then a match-saving mark with minutes to play. That was a crucial piece of positioning from him, and sure hands, found a target on the way out. Look, Blake East, if that's the year we're going to see from him, could he go another level to what we've already seen from Blake East in past years? They would have liked what they saw, Deanmill from Rhett Lloyd and Cooper Childs, their 2 recruits. That was outstanding from the 2 of them, especially Cooper Childs coming from the back line. Obviously, they haven't got Cahill with them this year. He was out for the second part of last year anyway with injury. But he was a really strong performer in the first half of the year for Deanmill last year. They found another one to give them backline rebound in Cooper Childs. His game was superb. But look, both teams I think would go away. Look, Imperials would be disappointed not to be walking home with the 4 points and not to be taking home the Todd Cooper Cup. But what a fantastic game of football, both sides. We saw 2 teams who did everything they could to win that game. And look, 4-point win to Deanmill, 4 points on the all-important ladder for Deanmill. But if that's what we're going to see from Imperials in 2026, can't wait to see what Tigers bring in about 15 minutes time down the road. Tigers and Bridgetown starting at 5:30. That's going to be a fantastic clash and tell us a lot about both those sides for the season. Can't wait for that one. Look forward to the rest of the Tyrepower Manjimup League football season here for the Lower Southwest. Thanks for your company today. Promise, next week you'll have Nigel Reeve back as the voice of the Lower Southwest. Thanks for listening to me today. Get to the footy. This is going to be a cracker of a season. Thanks, everyone. Drive home safe.